Thank you all. How are you? Okay, so this is going to be separate from Michael, because I know he's always the highlight. This will be the highlight of the press session that we do here. As Stella mentioned, we've invested in our first ever Chief Customer Officer organization as we brought Dell and EMC together. And since taking on that role, I have had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of conversations with our customers around the world, with team members in their organization, listening and learning to the challenges and the opportunities that they have. And these conversations absolutely validate the digital research that you heard Michael, Jeremy, David, and various others talk about earlier. And it's great context for this particular session. When you think about some of the statistics, around 45% of businesses believe that their business may be obsolete in the next 3 to 5 years. 4 out of 5 businesses thinking that a digital startup is a huge threat to their business now or in the future. And as much as you hear about those challenges, you also hear a lot about the opportunities. And you see some amazing companies that are committed to transforming and innovating and embracing change, recognizing that in this all-digital world, there is a massive competitive differentiator at stake for their companies. And that's really the inspiration behind Dell Technologies. We have a passion and a belief that we can be and we will be the best, most trusted technology partner, and we will help our customers into the digital future. So with that, I'm super honored to have 2 great customers with us here today. They are digital innovators, they are leaders in their industry and in their companies, and they have absolutely set the standard for what digital transformation and transforming their environment really, really looks like. So please join me in welcoming to the stage Jason Grant, who is Vice President of Fleet Information Technology. I decided Jason has a super cool job because he is with Holland America Group, which is part of the Carnival Corporation, and he's going to share some great stories around what he is doing on big data and all of that for millions and millions of their customers. And I'd like to bring up Rhonda Vetere. Rhonda is Chief Technology Officer at the Estée Lauder Companies, and she has a great story to share as well. So let's jump right in. Thank you. So these are 2 amazing leaders from 2 very different industries. And, you know, some have worked in many industries, so have a rich, rich experience around technology and transforming businesses and organizations and those types of things. I think for the audience, it would be good to get started with, give them a little context around the technology strategy at Holland America Group, and how does that fuel the business strategy of your company, and just some of the big priorities that you have in front of you.
Sure. So Carnival Corporation is, again, setting some context, is 10 of the world's leading cruise lines. I support the Holland America Group, which is Princess, Holland, Seabourn, and our Australia brand. But we're all facing the same challenges. Most people aren't aware. A cruise ship is a floating city. It has the same demands as a hotel, hospital, engine systems, nautical systems. It's a floating city. But what's unique about the cruise ship...
It's not grounded on ground, right? So you have all that complexity associated with floating in the ocean, right?
We do, and we face some unique challenges. We have vibration on board that you might not have land-based. We have salt water in the air. We've got some unique, environmental variables that challenge us daily and weekly.
Hurricanes? Right?
We've run into a few. Yes.
Yeah. I was actually on a cruise about a year or so ago, and it was unbelievable. Actually, it was with Princess, and it was unbelievable how they could steer around this and give you an absolutely smooth trip.
Well, and a lot of that's because of the ability to access data now on board. So, in partnering with Dell EMC, we are expanding our footprint on board. A classic cruise ship has a single or two data centers, and there is so much data moving through a ship now, from weather information, transactional information, guest information. It's really, allowing the vessel to have more data at their fingertips.
And you've been on this journey around this digital transformation with your company now for quite some time.
We have. It's interesting. A lot of times the business will come to us and they'll talk about it, digital transformation. They'll talk about mobility. They'll talk about wanting to maybe throw a hardware solution out on the fleet. But what we'll find sometimes is once we spend some time with the business, what they really are trying to get access to is the data on board, putting business intelligence at the fingertips of these crew members. We're supporting, just in the Holland America group, anywhere from 30 to 50,000 crew members, and they need to access information to be able to service a guest differently. So we're putting that type of analytics so that I can say, well, Karen's this type of profile, she has these type of tendencies, she prefers these type of drinks, and she might have these type of allergies. And we're doing that now in front of the guest without having to run back to the point-of-sale system in the back office, and so that guest experience and that relationship is there and stays.
Super crucial, super crucial. Rhonda, how about at Estee Lauder companies? So, you're doing a lot around this whole kind of digital innovation across many brands that sit across the Estee Lauder portfolio of companies. Talk a little bit about your technology strategy. How does it feed into what Estee Lauder is trying to do for their customers around the world?
Sure. Estee Lauder companies, many of you know, or maybe you do know because of your wife or your spouse, we have several different, over 30 brands. So I encourage you to look up that little statistic. So it's very intriguing from a whole portfolio perspective, but we have been on this journey now for about a little over 2 years, and we're not done yet. And our partnership with EMC and Dell is very critical to our success here. But we're doing multiple things, and we've been focused inwardly and outwardly. So when we talk about a digital transformation, you hear this buzzword. What is that? What does that actually mean? When you talk about it, it is internally, how do you work? How does your workforce work more productive and efficiencies? And how are they doing things more mobility? How are they speaking to each other? Are we utilizing the technology that we don't have to travel as much? I mean, the basic things that you would think about really are a transformation internally that organizations go through. Externally, we're on this journey too from an innovation perspective. What we're trying to do in innovation is really get digital thinking and prototyping out there, which is a new way of mental model thinking. So if you have an idea, let's map it out on the consumer journey, making things digital. Think about how many of you have teenagers that go to Sephora. Think about how their behaviors are online and how they shop. Why do they go to the mall? Do they like instantaneous? Everyone in this culture now wants things now, instant gratification. So we've been on this digital transformation from an efficiency perspective and innovation, digital thinking, making sure that we have a stable platform so that we can springboard into this new edge, competitive edge.
And what are some of your big IT priorities, and where are you investing across the companies?
Innovation, scalability, sustainability, how we work from a productivity perspective. And I keep going back to this different way of digital thinking, because that isn't new. It's a new way of thinking and working. I'm sure we'll get into that too.
Yeah. How about you, Jason? What are your big IT investments that you are going to be making over the next several years?
So a lot of focus on board about redundancy and resiliency. So, we operate classic FX2s, VMware. If you think about it, a cruise ship, real estate is a premium on board. So virtualization we've been able to remove racks on board. We've been able to gain back some space. But the investments are really, I'm calling it the hybrid cloud model. So we're trying to invest more so that the user doesn't have to worry, is the data on the ship? Is it shoreside for leadership or management to make decisions, or is it actually out in the cloud? I want the end user not to have to worry about that, and focusing on, we're focusing on the redundancy, resiliency, cloud, uptime.
How about security?
Yeah, security's big. If we go back a few years, guests would come on board, they'd bring their tablets and phones, and they would lock them away in the safes. But what's happening now is everybody is bringing 1, 2, sometimes 3 devices on board and wanting to access information, apps, social media, and access it quickly, securely.
Taking it anywhere on the ship, right?
Anywhere on the ship. And so we've got to manage that and make sure we're securing our guests and securing the onboard data as well.
I want to talk a little bit about big data, because I think you're like this big data on steroids, data center in the sea, type of visual. I read one of the statistics around, if you can figure out how to get an additional $1 a day out of one of your passengers, that will translate into $80 million of incremental revenue. So this whole mining of big data, customer data, what they're doing, talk a little bit about what you're doing in that area and some of your technology investments that you've done there. Sure.
Traditionally, we would bring that data back shoreside, so we were struggling with, so again, setting some context, cruise ships, they don't have the bandwidth that most would have at home on connecting to the internet. So we're talking 5, 10, 20 meg connections that you're sharing with 2,000, 3,000 people on board on up. And so the struggle has been replicating data ship and shore for a long time. Now we're looking at keeping the data on board, replicating in off-peak hours, but the data on board now providing it to the people that are truly in front of our guests. So we are literally on our client solutions or tablets, we're putting that data at the fingertips so that they understand you might be a wine connoisseur and Rhonda might be an art purchaser. And so
we're also a wine connoisseur.
Yes, exactly.
But that data in their fingertips with the BI and some other tools on board is where we're extending that now right out in front of the customer in a non-intrusive way. So that's where we're really focused on onboard BI and analytics.
Yeah, the whole experience, right?
Yeah.
Rhonda, where has Dell EMC helped you in your digital journey? Give the audience a flavor for kind of the relationship.
Absolutely. I think that's a great question, because I'm not going to date myself or anything, please, but being on this journey with this prior in financial services, I want to say this because I think it's very, very key. Back from JP Morgan to AIG to 17 mergers that we've done into different industries around the world and globally, living around the world. And now at Estee Lauder, it's been in multiple areas, multiple industries, the journey with Dell EMC, now we'll call Dell Technologies. But over the years, over 20 plus years, helped drastically, whether it was efficiencies that we did with Bank One and JP Morgan, that merger, condensing the data centers, getting to virtualization, getting to where we needed to be around the world globally from a sustainability perspective, uptime, making sure the stock market could trade, or is it Lehman Brothers when everything in the world was collapsing, how Dell EMC came to the rescue. At AIG specifically, during Hurricane Sandy, they were the best vendor to get us back up and running during that perspective. Dell was right there, and we didn't miss a beat there for AIG, and that was several years ago, so that was recent. And that was a heroic heroism, really, on behalf of Dell from Hurricane Sandy. A lot of people gave up a lot of their life to get us back up and running for the company, for AIG. And then at Estee Lauder Companies, We're doing several things in transformation. I'm known as a change agent, so I like to create change, and I welcome change. But from this perspective, it's been about building out the foundation, as Jason alluded to make sure we had a stable environment. So it's been multiple entities over the years around the world.
I had forgotten that you were at AIG during that Hurricane Sandy thing. That was a really proud moment for the Dell team, as I'm sure it was with the EMC team, to be able to rally to the support of our customers during a time when you needed us the most. So,
and I do want to say that, Karen, because the person with Dell literally drove the truck himself with the hardware, Pat Adirante. I'll give him the credit.
No kidding.
He actually drove it. He got the gas. I get chills thinking about what he gave up with his life, and he had no electricity to get us back up and running.
Yeah, he lives in the New York area, right? So he's got his own.
So that was a big moment and a proud moment for Dell that really, really showed a different side, a great side of Pat too. I know he's not an audience.
Yeah,
but.
that's great. That's great. How about you, Jason? With all of what you're doing, talk about where Dell EMC has helped you, and where you think we can help you going forward.
Sure. I think what Dell EMC, what I find the most valuable with the partnership and the relationship is they've taken the time to understand the uniqueness of the cruise and maritime industry, and as well as the land-based side, our shoreside operations. And now as we start talking about the cloud, we've got a single partner that we can work with that has taken the time to truly be on board our ships, be part of our installations, be part of our new ship launches, and be on board as we launch a ship. So they have invested the time and energy and built up the trust to now have a single partner as we move forward. So moving forward, it's just going to make it, I think the Dell EMC world is made it a single point of contact for us with vast resources. So as we move into the next few years, more cloud-based, it's just going to make it a little bit more seamless for us.
And can you give the audience a feel for the types of products and solutions that are in your environment today across Dell and EMC, VMware, Pivotal, just so they have a sense for kind of the vastness of what we can help with? Sure.
Yeah. You named most of them. We're a VM shop. We run FX2s, compellent storage, AirWatch. We've got a whole slew of solutions on board and shoreside, but it's more than just infrastructure now. Now we're looking at services, software, and other Dell technologies.
And ruggedized clients that are helping you with some of the weather conditions and some of the weather types of things, maritime conditions that you have to wrestle with?
Yes. The tablets, the client solutions, again, space is a premium, so we don't have room for large desktops anymore, right? We've got to look at virtual desktops. We've got to look at thin clients. We've got to look at tablets, and really my customer, the hotel director, the captain, they don't want to sit behind their desk. They want to be out on the ship and moving around, and they still have to operate the ship and have access at their fingertips. And so, partnering with Dell EMC, we're now enabling them to, be mobile out on board.
It's so funny you mentioned that, because back to this cruise that I was on, I was amazed at how visible the captain and his staff was. To the point that I was like, wow, they were everywhere. They were interacting. They weren't there all the time. Clearly somebody was driving the ship, but interacting with the passengers and doing it within this multi-device world. I pay a lot of attention to kind of the environments and everything as I'm out and that type of thing. So it was really impressive with what they were doing, how they were interacting, how they were monitoring things without being actually there in the engine room and doing it. So,
yeah, it's truly changed on board. The Internet of Things is now we've connected the ships, meaning bridge, engine. Every system you can think of on board a ship is now connected to some sensor. touching the network, and it's feeding data back to the ship's officers and back to shoreside so that we can, in case of emergency or just being able to monitor the ships, we're moving data like we've never seen before, ship and shore. And
yeah, great. Hey, Rhonda, so talk about some of your priorities going forward, and what is it about kind of Dell EMC, Dell Technologies coming together that you feel, A, can help you in your business priorities, and then what else? I mean, where's the kind of future going, and how should we be thinking about that, too, as we shape roadmaps, new offers, new capabilities?
Sure. I think from the whole conglomerate, I look at it like this. We have different entities under Estee Lauder. I look at it just like with Dell Technologies now. VirtuStream, security, EMC, you name it. You have a breadth of portfolio, which is very, very key to us. And we're very excited about it. All of us should be very excited where we are in this world from a technology perspective. Obviously, tonight the debate will be something else. But from a technology perspective, I couldn't be more excited where we are. And I think that this is just leapfrogging us in to the future with everything coming together with Dell Technologies. So very, very exciting. What we can all do to help each other, and what I encourage is the trusted seniority, the executives across Dell Technologies, they continue to be engaged. That is very, very, no pun intended for us, pivotal also, that relationships are key. Businesses are about relationships, can't stress that enough, and continuing to have those seniority and the executives are present, they're showing up, they know your customer like you know the business, continue to do that. That is very, very important, and they do that, and they're great at that. So that is a compelling advantage that Dell Technologies has. Thinking further out, though, continuing to challenge us, I'm more thinking about how can we do things more rapidly, quickly, prototyping, getting things into the environment across any product line. I'm not just targeting cloud or VirtuStream. I'm talking about in a terminology that you're in Korea, they like to go things more rapid. We do business in a lot of different countries. In Latin America, we have different challenges down there. So thinking about how you can help us is thinking more globally and what's going on around the world and how we need to have different business models to support the enterprise-wide on the consumer journey. So I'm thinking more long-term that way and sustainability.
Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, I think this is where Dell and EMC come together with the vastness of 180 markets, bringing, the two kind of organizations and everything together. Couldn't agree more around speed, agility, fast turn, test, try, but there is a localization aspect of how we really need to be thinking about technology. What about you?
Yeah, that's really key in the cruise industry. I mean, Carnival Corporation, just like Rhonda said, it's global. I mean, we have brands all over the world, and at any given time, we need to react quickly to outages, replacements, and what I've seen from Dell EMC is just a continued support to respond quickly, and it's been they've been very responsive on a global presence and supporting. If you think about it, a ship is running 24/7, 365. I can't take an outage when the office closes at 6 or 7 to do an upgrade. So we have to find a way to be nimble and do that during time zones that aren't, that Dell EMC supports us with because they have a local presence. So that's been a great partnership.
Fantastic. Well, thank you all. Thank you very much for sharing your stories and your insights. Thank you for your business. Thank you for being here and talking to this audience. And we look forward to some even greater partnerships going forward. So thank you.
Yeah, we're very excited.